Hello and good day, boy. I tell you, have we got a good one for you today, boys and girls. I'm David Dunaway. I'm your host today on Issues and Insights here at the Hardin County HCE TV television, and we have got a good one for you. And several years ago, there was a television show on TV, about 20 years ago, I think, called Rescue 911. William Shatner of Star Trek fame was the person in charge of that program and hosted it and told of all the ins and outs of what goes on in a 911 center and how they react and how they take charge and rescue people. Well, today you're in for a special treat. We have our own William Shatner of Hardin County right here in this room. Actually, it's not William Shatner, but he's next best thing. We're here at the 911 Center of Hardin County. And I have got some fantastic folks with me. The William Shatner himself, Bryce Shoemate. He is our Chief of Emergency Services overall the 911 here in Hardin County. And then we've got Michelle Bowen. She is Operations Manager here at 911. And over here to my immediate right, your left, I guess, we got Lori Gass. She's the Executive Officer. And we have the newly minted, brand spanking new Mike Leo. He is the Director of 911 Rescue. So anyway, welcome, guys.
Thanks, David.
So how you doing?
We're doing well.
Hey, neighbor.
We're doing well. Yeah, our neighbor, David and I live just down the street from one another.
Yeah.
We try to take care of one another.
That's right. So,
you know, David, one of the things that a lot of people, when they think of 911, they don't think about all the inner workings that go on. And when I was at Radcliffe Police Department, I used to bring kids in as they'd come in and visit, and we'd start in dispatch, and I'd say, you know, I think of the police department as a person a lot of times, and 911 is the brain telling the rest of the body what to do. And you got to realize these folks here are the unsung heroes of emergency services. They're the ones that a lot of times, because they're behind the scenes and not out on the scene, that a lot of times they get forgotten. And I mean, they're the ones that when you call before EMS, before the fire department, before the police department gets there, they're explaining about how to do CPR for a loved one that's there on the floor. They're the ones that are saying, get out of the house, you know, you need to leave now because you've got smoke in the house. They're the ones that scream, get out of the truck, the train's getting ready to hit it, you know, and this just happens. So, I mean, they truly are, as far as I'm concerned, they are truly just as much of a hero as the people that we see out there on the scene, because they're taking care of the problem. And David, a lot of times people don't understand they've got to keep a cool head. They've got to maintain their composure when everything else is going bad.
They got to practice the Sully method.
That's right.
Captain Sully. Anybody knows about the flight going into the Delaware River? Captain Sully. If you listen to that cockpit recording, he was calm, cool the whole time, even when the plane hit the water. So I guess y'all have kind of the same bailiwick here, don't you?
That's right. That's right. And you know, since I've taken over as Chief Emergency Services, 911 is just one of the programs that I oversee. It's EMS, our ambulance folks, and also emergency management. But I just oversee. These are the ones that are down here working every day, and they're the ones that are making this place run. And it takes these group of people that you see sitting here. This is the management team for 911, and they make sure that everything is taken care of. Anything from scheduling and making sure addresses are right, to making sure that we've got actually people, warm bodies in these chairs to answer the 911 calls. Because I mean, last thing you want to hear when people call 911 is, "Could you please hold?"
Yeah, you know, the next available customer.
Yeah, that's right.
Customer representative,
That's right. So, I mean, and I think it's important that people out there that are watching our show today or this evening listen to what's going on here, and we'll actually take a tour as we go through, take a tour of the place, so that folks here in Hardin County can see what their tax dollars actually pay for, and what we actually get, and the great people that we've got working in Hardin County E-911.
Well, I'm excited about this. Like I said, this is my first time in the building, and I'm excited about, checking it all out. But let's go over a little bit about some of the things that 911 officers, like Mr. Leo, I'll turn to you. What are some of the services that 911 provides?
We provide communication services for all emergency responders, EMS, fire, law enforcement. On top of that, we maintain all their records here using software products. And it goes beyond that. It's services of help, those who need help with clothing or shelters and stuff like that. Any animal issues,
For example, somebody has a fire, for example, and they're burned out of their home. Y'all kind of make sure that proper folks are contacted,
Right,
like Red Cross.
We get Red Cross on board. They're contacted by us to respond out to the scenes to help those people. The same with the fire department's on scene. Red Cross is also deployed by us to get out there and help those guys rehab. And same time, EMS is deployed out there to make sure any firefighters are actually having medical issues. That takes a lot on you when you're trying to fight a fire. So a lot of resources come together just on that kind of scenario that we kind of take part in to get it out there. I kind of look at it, we're a relay hub. We collect the information and we relay it back out based off certain criterias to get people on scene to take care of folks. So.
Okay, so now, obviously, Hardin County, a wide area. Is there any other areas that may be unincorporated in and around Hardin County that you all kind of take care of too?
There are sections of LaRue County that, because they are technically, I guess, in the city limits of Upton and Sonora, that we do provide EMS and fire to those locations. Law enforcement is still strictly jurisdictional based, so we can't, send a Hardin County Sheriff's Department down there.
Right.
It will be LaRue that takes care of that, but some areas of Grayson, little pieces of Meade County. A little bit in every county that surrounds us because we can get there closer. We do provide that medical and fire service to them.
Now, for example, if a call comes in, somebody dials 911, say, let's just, for example, they are at, say, the Hardin and Bullitt County line, for example. Does that get kind of a tricky judgment calls to who do you send and who
Right.
responds? And do you pick up a phone call Bullitt County and say, hey, we got a problem down here?
What I like to do is, and I know it's just best practice. If it's right on the line, I get both counties involved. We're going to roll that way. We'll get Bullitt County on the line. They're going to roll that way. And technically, whoever gets there first and help those folks that are in need, that's kind of how it lays out. And then we can just cancel those responders if we don't get there in time because the neighboring county was able to get there before us. And really, and I really don't have a lot of issues where it's rightly, exactly at that point of county boundaries. They tend to be over in the neighboring county or they tend to be in our county.
Right.
It could happen, but in that general scenario, we'll send both.
Can you imagine if we send all these emergency services, somebody calls in, and we don't know exactly where they are. And Lori plays a very important role in that of what Leo's talking about because all day long, most every day, a big part of her job is making sure that the mapping coordinates are all correct for everybody that lives all across Hardin County, and it's a bigger deal than what most people
Well,
think.
that would be probably my next question for her in terms of, because I know working in my capacity with the school system, my particular school covers several different city boundaries. And the problem I have sometimes is, the same 2 or 3 cities may have the same street names. So you got to determine, all right, which street is that Vine Grove, Radcliffe, or is this Rineyville? So, obviously you've got a big job.
So in the county, we try not to duplicate street names. If there's a new street name, a new street coming in, being built, I will look and the planning department will make sure that it's not a duplicate of a previous street. Most streets, if there is a street that is the same from years ago, most of the range, which is the addresses on that street, 1 to 199, would be one street, another one would be 200 to 299. So that what helps make the difference, so they don't get too confused.
And I guess what helps too is make sure from a individual's point of view, know your street and also have your house plainly marked too.
Yes.
I'm sure that helps.
That's
doesn't
very important.
And is there certain guidelines, certain criteria that people need to have when they're, making sure their house is properly marked?
It needs to be marked on the mailbox and also on the house. I don't know that there's a lot of the fire departments will sell the signs, the blue signs that you see on mailboxes. Those are great to have because they reflect. But other than that,
Large number letters, mailbox,
Right.
mailbox pole that holds the mailbox up. It helps
The larger the better.
It helps responders find that location easier.
The larger the better.
There are incidents where the house isn't marked, and it's a guessing game for the guys that are out there trying to find them.
Hardin County has an addressing ordinance specifically
Oh,
that
there
lays
is?
out,
Okay. I wasn't
that
aware
lays
of that.
out, and I believe in there that it specifies how large the numbers have to be, where they're placed exactly, so that most people don't think about a number on their house until the fire department or the police try to get there. So, and I'm not sure about the cities of E-Town and Radcliffe. I would assume that they have something very similar,
Yes.
but there is an actual ordinance specifying the number, size, where it's placed, and things
Well,
like
I
that.
just recently painted my house on the outside, and I redid my numbers, and I made sure I put them in two places so that, over the front door and over the carport. So
Right.
at least if they don't see it one way, they might be able to see it the other. I'm
Right.
trying to think in terms of.
And really, one of the most important things, especially out in the county, there are a lot of houses that are far off of the roadway. So having the number visible on your mailbox, visible at night,
Mailbox or
is very important. At the
driveway
end
or
of your
something.
driveway, yes, that's very
Something,
important.
Because you want them to get there. You
Right,
don't want them to pass you by.
exactly.
So, okay. So tell me a little bit about what you do as far as the operations manager, Michelle.
My job is mostly in the office. I keep up with our budget, make sure that we are running efficiently, taxpayer dollars are being spent efficiently where they're needed. I also do scheduling, make sure somebody's in here ready to answer the 911 call when it comes in. And then also, each of us is backup coverage for the center, especially during the day. If there's a wreck on the interstate or in a busy area in E-Town, we could receive up to 75 to 100 calls on that one accident. So when the 911 calls start coming in, somebody has to answer them. Somebody has to also be sending first responders to get to that accident. So we all pitch in.
So in that scenario there, about how many people are we talking about? I mean, well, first of all, back up just a little bit. On a daily, just a normal ho-hum day, how many operators do you
Our
have?
daily staffing is usually 4 people in dispatch in this room. And then we also have 1, 2, 3, up to 5 people that are in offices around that can answer 911 calls as well. We have 2 to 3 people on the overnight shift.
So like for the scenario you just had, if you had a major wreck on Interstate 65, for example, then you've got probably as many as 9 to 10 people.
Right, that
Answering
could
the phone.
answer the
Okay.
phone, right. And
That's good to
the
know.
911 calls will ring in here first. If they're not answered in here within a specified amount of time, then they will actually ring at our desk.
Oh,
So we
okay.
can pick up our desk phone and answer 911 calls.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What about in just for hypothetical sake, what if we had a major disaster, say like Nolan and RECC, their electricity, just blew up, just went off the grid. Are you all prepared to have a backup in case something happens like that?
Yes, we
major
have
disaster?
we have a UPS system, which is uninterruptible power source that automatically kicks in when the electric goes off. Then our generator, of course, we have a backup generator. There's usually about maybe a 30-second lag between when the generator kicks in, from the time the electric goes off to the generator kicks in, and that's why we have the UPS to catch that 30 seconds. So we don't go down at all.
That's good. That's good. What about in other situations like weather, how does the weather affect you all in terms of like if there's a major tornado? Again, does that, obviously things happen during major weather disasters like that.
We, of course, we are on the National Weather Service. We're on a list, and they send us emails when they think that there's a weather event coming in. They have conference calls and presentations to try to get us ready. Of course, we adjust our staffing. We pay attention to local news and weather. We do whatever we have to do to make sure that somebody's here.
You're always in a state of preparedness,
right.
Always.
And I can remember when it snowed. What was that, last year when I-65 got shut down?
Year before last.
Yeah, we had food here. We had people spending the night here. We've got cots. We do whatever we have to do.
Next question.
There have been a couple of nights where we've had people stay.
And something we want to follow up on that with what Michelle says is very important, but one of the things that people have got to remember is when all those things are going on, 911 is extremely busy with sending our first responders all over the place. The last thing that we want folks to do is to call us and say, is Muldrow Hill open? Or do you know if school is open today? I mean, those are not emergency things. That's why, radio stations and TV stations are putting out those kind of information. And these folks here, if they would look at Facebook, they try to keep up-to-date information on Facebook on those types of things and that type of information. And it is not something that we need to clog up 911 over.
I'm going to say social media has probably helped you all in a good many respects.
It does make it easier to get information out to the public quickly, efficiently, to a large number of people. We put some fun things on there on our Facebook account, but we also, anytime we get any information from the National Weather Service, from the Kentucky Department of Transportation, the Sheriff's Office, local law enforcement, we try to pass that information on our Facebook page as soon as we get it.
And David, we also have 2 dispatching positions that Michelle and Lori have posted on our Facebook site, because we're accepting applications. And so I know some folks may be watching HCTV right now and saying, man, I need a job, and that sounds like a pretty decent thing to do. And in fact, it's not just so much that we're looking for, it takes a special person to do this job. And it is a multitasking job. The folks that work here have to do several things at the same time. And so even though we advertise for folks to apply, not everybody that applies is the right fit for this job.
Got to be able to work under pressure. A lot of pressure. I would think there'd be a lot of pressure in your all's line of work, I would think. I've been associated with police departments and early age, and I saw early on how communications can get kind of.
But not from the back seat.
No.
Okay, I get it.
You weren't supposed to tell that.
You are my neighbor. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, speaking of fun things, you touched on that a while ago. I've always loved to hear the oddball stories. Do you have an oddball story you can share with us?
I think Mike Leo has a perfect oddball story that just happened recently.
Well, I'd love to hear it. They're always fun.
So I was in the training room. We took a few calls, and the whole center started getting really busy. A few wrecks going on, a lot of medical calls going on. So I got on the console and started taking phone calls. The first phone call I took was a semi truck that was stuck on the Gilead Church railroad tracks, and he advised me over the phone that he said, "I believe the train's coming." I said, "What? I mean, are y'all getting out of the vehicle? We're trying to get out of the vehicle now." And then I hear the train horn.
You can actually hear the train
over the phone.
Over the
I'm
phone.
like, and I asked, "Is the train coming?" He said, "Yes, it's right here." And then I start yelling for this guy to get out this truck, get out this truck. And I hear him yelling at somebody else. I said, "Who are you yelling at?" I said, he said my partner, and he's yelling at him to get out of the truck. We're all just yelling at each other, "Get out of the truck." Then I hear the collision, and then I hear silence.
Oh no.
I hear nothing for a good 30 seconds, and then I'm jumping over the sheriff's channel and getting those units started, and I'm frazzled. I mean, it's been a while since I witnessed an event, you know, even via on the phone. And he comes back on the line. He says, I said, "Are you there?" He says, "Yeah, I'm here." I said, "Y'all okay?" He said, "Yeah, we're both okay." I said, "Man," I said, "you scared me there." He said, "You should be down here." But I said, "I'm so happy that both of you are safe." I was like, "Good night." It was a good time. Maybe not for him in the train, but
Yeah, in other words, train 1, truck 0, in other words.
yeah, it could have been worse. Guy was carrying camshafts, I think, or crankshafts, and had a few things to
At least
clean
it
up.
wasn't hazardous material anyway, so.
But they were both able to get out.
Yes. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, well, now, let's kind of go back. You talked about the training you was going through there, had a training session. What all is involved in training session? What are some of the attributes and what are some of the qualifications you look for?
Initially, we really looking for people who can multitask and can recall information vocally by putting it in the computer system. Typing skills is basically one, and then we do test them to hear something audially and then being able to disseminate it on paper, basically. But we 10 to 12 week training program here. It's more core concept based, how to take calls, customer service, how to talk to people on the phone, certain questions to ask to kind of steer the conversation towards what kind of service they're actually needing. Just a few first couple of weeks is where it's all training. It's strictly book work. It's learning the software applications. But after that third week, it's live. It's live calls. We're tethered to a trainer. I was the trainer prior to my new promotion, and we're tethered. So when the new dispatcher is having issues, we step in, continue to guide the call properly. So the key thing for my reassurance is that they have to basically answer about 500 calls within the first couple of weeks of being here to finally just really understand the mechanics of it. Most people know what they want, what they're calling for: medical emergencies, fire emergencies, law enforcement. But it's really just basically geared out to core concepts. We interrogate the caller. We control the call. We do get people that are hysterical. We have to find a way to break that, to get that information from them. And location is the best thing. I mean, if you can't tell me what's going on or what services you need, we can send them all, but location is the primary feature that we need to get people.
So, when should a person call 911?
This center does all types of things. Of course, general emergencies, medical emergencies, fire emergencies, any kind of fire emergency. People are seeing, just if you see smoke in the air, doesn't belong there, definitely call and we'll get some people to check it out. Any law enforcement related issues. The Sheriff's Department determines the criteria between law related and civil related. That's not really our job, but most people that do call for law related issues don't understand the difference between the two. It's not our job to educate that, so we will definitely pass that on to them and they can make the determination. But on top of that, people who need help with clothing, shelters, we do have outlooks to get those people to.
So.
David, I think that all the information everybody's given is things that people that are watching this show need very much to know about 911. But a lot of people haven't seen our center, and so I think we take a quick break and go around to where you can see the call taking area and the consoles.
Okay, sound like a plan to me. Let's go.
Your show's getting too long.
Sorry. I just get, I was... All right, Mr. Leo, why don't you show us right quick all the different components we've got going here at the dispatch center.
Basically, this is a dispatch console. The desk is designed to accommodate users to be able to sit and stand
look at that,
at the same
up
time and work. The monitors that you're seeing, if you can see them on this side, is actually the 911 machine where all the phone calls ring into. In the center two displays is more software products. We've got a CAD software, computer-aided dispatch, where all the calls get put into. On the other side, we've got some protocols, types of questions to answer callers that kind of drive what kind of resources that they're actually requiring. At the top, you'll see there's a map. We're currently using a Google version of the map that just kind of shows the tops of buildings, and within the details of the map is where all our, what we talked about earlier. Lori is the one that basically draws all the maps and addresses everything on there.
Addresses and coordinates.
Right. And on this side is the radio. All our channels and services that we dispatch for all drive out of this one monitor. So it's touchscreen, push buttons. It's really user-friendly equipment.
Thank you all so much for joining us today here on this edition of Issues and Insights. I'm your host, David Dunaway. Until next time, have a good day.